Welcome to Nonprofit Network, powered by Stokes Auction Group. We are a group of fundraising professionals that specialize in raising funds to improve communities of all sizes. Hello and welcome to the Nonprofit Network. This is a fundraising podcast where we are fundraising enthusiasts, where we talk about fundraising strategies for on-site fundraising events, primarily charity auctions. I'm Shelby Stokes.
Kelly Schenfeld.
Hey gang, Paulie Schenfeld here. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon is right. Guess what? We are less than 2 weeks from April. In fact, that's Saturday. Saturday is April. We're less than 2 weeks.
We're closer than that.
We're even less than a week, believe it or not.
It's like next couple days.
That's like coming
That's hard
up.
to believe. It's April is the first of Saturday.
I was hoping we would all be together. Let me try that again.
That
I was hoping we would all be together on April Fool's Day.
I was hoping we
That
all be together
on April Fool's Day,
April
so I
Fools.
could do a joke on y'all.
What was your joke plan?
Well,
Did you
I
have a
had
plan
it
for the joke?
I had it planned. I had it where I was going to be like, oh, just a minute, and I was going to run and go to the bathroom, and then you guys would sit here like, oh my gosh, she's never done that before.
Ooh, ruh-roh.
Ruh-roh.
Have you seen these prank political mailers where you like say like somebody's a hardcore Democrat or Republican, you send them the alternative party's support mailer, and it comes in a big envelope, and it's like, thank you for your $500 support for blah blah
Oh,
blah.
really? That's a great
I
idea.
love that.
Just watch people's heads explode. So
I have a few people I could
right?
send that
Wouldn't
to.
that be great?
Oh,
What is this? Yeah.
Honey, did you spend $500 on the Democratic Party?
here's your subscription for ivermectin.
Oh man. I'm telling you, either way, it could really be something. But yeah, there's a lot of good pranks going on. April 1st, it's right around the corner, and we're excited. But we're doing fundraising right now, and we all had shows this weekend, which was very cool. Yeah, let's talk about those a little bit. It was a good fundraising weekend for all of us, it felt like. Who wants to hop in first? You want to?
Why don't you go first?
Okay. Well, I say this a lot, but it was a Catholic school.
Broken record over here, huh?
Yeah, right? Well, I guess that's my niche.
Gotta be known for something.
Yeah.
Super fun group.
Is that because you squeeze in a Hail Mary on occasion? And do you need to get a little absolution at the end of every night?
Yes, it must. Father, before you leave, can I talk to you?
Can I meet you back here in this?
Couple hundred people. In fact, right on the money, 200 people, about 23 items. We had by the head. We had one by the head. We had some trips. We had some class projects. We did golden ticket. We had heads and tails game. We had photo booth. We had a wine. Oh, this was kind of a cool thing. It's this wall that has balloons on it, like at the carnival. $20. You throw the dart until you hit one of the balloons. Doesn't matter how many times it takes, and whatever's inside is the certificate that you get plus a bottle of wine.
That's very cool.
So, and you're pretty far away, but you know it's the everybody wins kind of thing.
Yes.
And we had a great dessert dash. They had a good theme. It was the Willy Wonka in the chocolate factory.
Oh.
Yeah, you sent me a great picture.
Did you get a little chocolate out of the deal, or?
No, I didn't. But
Did
I
you win the golden ticket? That's the real
said
question.
scrumdiddlyumptious a bunch of
Okay,
times.
very nice.
Talking
Did you
about-
lick any wallpaper?
No, that would have been a good idea.
Schnozberries smell like schnozberries.
But
I
it was
want
fun.
it now, Daddy. I want it now.
So my daughter recently listened to that book, and Kayla's like, yeah, I got the movie, and she watched it. I looked it up. She got the Johnny Depp version.
Oh, that's not
that's
the
Right?
insane.
I was like, have you seen the Gene Wilder version? She's like, I don't know. I just bought it. And I was like, well, you bought it incorrectly.
Do you know Gene Wilder was born in 1933?
What?
He would have been 90 years old.
Was he really?
Yeah, 90 years old. Can you believe that? 1933.
I love that. I mean, Gene Wilder is like one of the greats.
Gene Wilder and Rosanna Donna. Those were some of the best. You know Rosanna?
I don't know what that is. No, I don't know what that is at all. Is that a bit? That's a bit.
You
It's
know
a Saturday Night Live, yeah.
Rosanna Donna.
Yep.
I don't.
She had a cigarette hanging over my Hey, my name is Rosanna Donna.
Gilda Radner.
Yes. That was her.
So
They
what
were
was
married.
really
So keep going.
yeah.
Sidebar.
If I could finish,
Is Gene Wilder
Go
there?
ahead. Gene Wilder wasn't there. Well, he was in spirit.
We have his birthday.
this event has been doing this, at least since I've been a part of it, but doors open at 5, so this is a timeline deal. First closing is at 6. Second closing's at 6:30. Live auction starts at 6:45.
Boom.
Done by 8:30.
That's a beautiful timeline.
It is, yeah.
And they love it. They're used to it. They expect it. But, yeah, I mean, it's kind of out of the ordinary, right? You're done and out the door 8:45.
You're kind of seeing that a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think, where people are tightening up their timelines. I have noticed that they're, our guys and gals, they're getting done at, 9 o'clock. They're 9:30. They're on their way to go get some dinner, because typically we don't eat until afterwards. But I'm hearing that more and more, that they are tightening up the timelines. And I say, yay, and hats off to all of you that are doing that, because it is great for your guests.
If you're planning a charity auction 2023, it has to be short, because I had one that was probably longer than it should have been, and after we hit the donation portion of the night, went to the second round of items, people were like, get me out of here, like standing up and leaving. Like, I really had to book it through that last bit of content because people needed to get home.
Well as we have developed through the P word, which I hate, I'm not going to say it, but the time that we were all home for a while, we developed an instant gratification society even more, because people were, getting instantly things on their YouTubes, on their everything. Yeah. On their YouTubes.
On their YouTube.
People
are at home.
People are at home watching their YouTube.
During the P word on their YouTubes.
During the P word on the YouTube.
And Amazon stock went.
Amazon, yeah. So people were like, give it to me now. I want it now, Daddy.
The TikTok,
so
the Chinese,
TikTok,
like it's all coming together.
It's all a
It's
thing.
all coming into one big finale, and you have entered the final season of humanity. So congratulations.
Yes. So I think that might be part of it.
One thing I did want to point out about, before I get finished with my
before we let you
about
finish
my
your
game.
story. We haven't done a very good
show.
job. Sorry, Paul, you're very important, Dad.
Looking at the timeline, I thought an hour is not enough time for that first section.
And an hour is actually 60 minutes, Shelby, if you think about it.
Stop.
It's 60 minutes.
We don't
Get out
support
your
conspiracy
phone.
theories
Really?
here.
I'm just trying to,
You should derail him. That's
Derail
what you're doing.
Yeah, it's working.
Yeah.
60 minutes.
So would you agree that 60 seconds is an hour, Paul?
Paul, would you agree that 60 seconds is an hour?
Can I have a sidebar?
Keep going. I'm sorry, that was not well.
But people responded to it. It's like, oh, boy, we've, once you get to the venue at 5, just a regular guest, and you get registered and you get situated, it's 5:15, 5:20, when you can actually start looking at the silent stuff. And now you've only got 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And it helped that sense of urgency. It was very effective.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I was concerned. It's like, either people are going to be late or it's not going to be enough time. But I kept pushing it. Hey, you guys, this is coming quick.
Yeah.
And boom, you could just see them scurry. So in that case, it was an effective timeline, and it really helped keep and create that sense of urgency.
Mobile bidding or paper?
Paper. Old school.
Speaking of
Okay,
paper,
now I am officially done talking about me and my show.
It was
well, did that take 60 minutes or what? Jeez Louise.
Go ahead with your stuff.
Wind her down.
Okay.
Kelly,
Do what you want to do.
Let's do all the things you want to do. So you supported science this weekend? Excuse me.
Yeah, a little burp there. We're gonna have a little bit of a...
Stew is saying hello.
See, yes, I'm smelling this
The
stew.
enzymes. Okay, let's just move forward.
I think there was more onion in that stew than normal.
Whoa, boy.
Anyway, so yes, we did. We had a great time, actually. I have to share with you, fellas, that I was pleasantly surprised in a wonderful way. Sometimes you get used to doing the same old auction, and it was new for us. I mean, our company has done it, and it's always been a very kind of a smaller, group, a little bit quieter, I believe. But this group of people that we got to deal with this weekend were incredible people. They raised a pile of money for the Marine Science Center. I have to tell you, the Port Townsend, you brought it, man. Good job. You brought all of it, and it was appreciated by those people in the room that put the organization together. It was beautiful, you guys. It was paper, old school, silent, and you know what? I believe in my depths of my being that there are still very, very good places to use that. The mobile bidding isn't everywhere, and don't be afraid that you're not using mobile bidding yet. I'm also for mobile bidding. However, in this particular case, as well as yours, I don't know about yours yet. We're going to hear about it, but paper created that you saw somebody bidding there. They created that, and it was fun for them, and they enjoyed it. And Mark had a great time. And I had a great time, and the dessert dash, I mean to tell you, these people dashed. They dashed. In fact, I might even give you a clip on here. I don't know if we can get it done, but insert a little clip above us or behind us of one of the dashers, and her name was Zoanne, and oh man, she was probably...
Her name was Zoanne, and oh man.
Oh man.
Oh man, Zoanne.
I was saying, get those knees up, and she did, and it was just incredible. It was really, really neat. Yeah.
Zion, oh man, Zumba class.
Yeah, so it was cool. And you know what?
Stepping like the best of
They
them.
exceeded their goal. In fact, it was a magical night, to be honest with you, and it had nothing to do with anything we did. It had everything to do with what they did. They treated those people that came to donate like they were kings and queens, and it was a buffet, and it was old school, and it didn't matter. It didn't matter.
Talk about getting back
People
to the
gave.
roots.
Yes, people gave,
Right?
and then they gave, and then when they were done giving, by golly, they gave some more. In fact, my husband wasn't even going to go to the $100 level because at the $250 level, it was magical. I mean, the whole thing was magical, but he brought the boys up that spoke, and a couple of young gentlemen, I want to say freshmen, maybe 8th grade and freshman-ish, right in there. Boom, they came up and called numbers at the $100
Really?
level. Yes, it was a lovely night, and I
Oh,
was
that's a
honored and
great
thrilled to be a
idea.
part of it. And if any of you get an opportunity to get out to that Port Townsend area and check out the Science Center, do it. It's pretty incredible. Saving the Salish Sea.
Saving the Salish
Salish
Sea. Oh, that's
Sea.
a toughie.
Saving
That
the
is a
Salish
toughie right there.
Sea. And the kelp forest. You call it the kelp forest, but it's like our national rainforest, right? It's a big deal, and they're trying to save this forest. It's like, because you can't see it, it doesn't exist, and it's
The kelp bed out there in the...
yes.
in the-
The more you know.
The more you know.
Save the kelp.
That's right. And if
Save
yes.
the kelp. That's pretty cool.
Oh, it was very cool.
So I
was super happy.
I do have to say that I had physical forms at my event too, and boy, there's something to those forms.
There is, isn't there?
It's weird. It does not seem like it would make sense. And part of me is like, oh no, we gotta do it like this because this is how it was done. But there was some energy
Yes.
that was created with like the physical buzzing around
Yes.
the silent. Now, we had like a lot of people going into a very little space, so it was congested. But man, energy.
Yeah.
There's some good energy there. Did you have like the bidding back and forth?
Oh, we
with people?
did.
Oh, yeah.
We did. In
Yeah.
fact, Mark was able to even get in there at one point and say, "Don't you tell her, don't you take her bid, and it's all happening over the mark. Don't you try and get away for that, And so it created between those two people a really cool bantering, and the auctioneer brought light to it, and yet then he goes down the line, and there's this. It was awesome.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
Awesome.
I'm telling
That's
you, like, there's a
awesome.
lot
Yeah.
of fun, and like the stuff that happens organically in those silent auctions, like, is really something. It's almost like a spectacle in itself.
Yeah.
And I think that there's something to that. I really do.
And I think
Yeah.
there's a place for the paper forms still.
I
do.
would have argued with you,
Yeah,
but I
I
think
do.
you're wrong. I think you're onto something.
Yeah,
I really do.
not all, obviously.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna have, you got 600 people at an auction, and you've got 150 silent items, right? That's a
little much.
That's a little much, but those are almost different levels of auctions. Almost different levels of galas there. I think. So I welcome the paper. I welcome the bid pal, but I will tell you that this weekend in that room, it raised more money.
And if you had that, if that was on a mobile bidding device, us, the auctioneer team, would not be able to see those battles going between.
No, you just see the bid change.
Yeah, he wouldn't have been able to do that.
Right.
He wouldn't have been able to create that. Hey, are you going to outbid her? Are you going to let him get away with that?
As well as
That
he would,
never would have worked if it was all on their phone.
And you can pull that, both of you, from the silent to the live. You can say, well, I know you didn't win the basket or whatever, so come
Right.
on, I see you, and you'll know that, make that mental note. So, yeah.
That's pretty neat.
It
I'm glad that it worked so well, and having that back and forth in community builder is really good warm up for the actual event. I would imagine too.
Yeah,
Like that
absolutely.
probably set the tone for what was about to happen in the main event.
Did you have a magical night too?
I had a very magical night. I mean, I had a
Dixie fairy
night
dust and the whole
that
bit?
was something. It doesn't happen very often, and essentially it's kind of one of the topics that I wanted to talk about today. I had an event that was like 5 stars, an amazing event. Like everything came together. We ended up raising almost $250 in the Fund a Need cash donation portion of the night, and then we did $100,000 in the live auction. And this client specifically, if you look back on this client 10 years ago, it was a whole different event altogether. And I think it's just amazing to sit here and have the event that we did and then compare it to where it was 10 years ago and the different aspects that allow this organization to kind of shift and change and evolve over the years to eventually land them in a place where they're raising $1 million in one gala.
Yeah, it's cool.
Is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty amazing. So paper bid forms, just kind of run through the event quickly. We had paper bid forms, which I thought was cool and novel. We had a dessert dash that probably went on a little too long. What else happened? We just had an amazing night, and we set the bar early. And essentially, when looking at this event in the past, our high watermark for live auction sales was about $3 or $4 grand. So I kind of went thinking, okay, $3 or $4 grand is going to be a high dollar amount, so I'll take these increments, I'll kind of start this here, yada, 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 strategize. And the first 3 or 4 items, like $5 grand plus.
Wow.
Like boom, boom, boom. And then all of a sudden
That's cool when that happens.
Sets the tone, doesn't it?
It sets the tone.
Totally.
It sets the tone, and it changes everything. You're no
feel it.
longer taking $100 bids. You're taking $250 and pushing it all the way past where you thought you would land. And it just became a very, very fun night. It felt like years of work paying off.
Yes.
And I think that's really what I want to
For
drill down
them,
about. For
right?
them, yeah,
Yeah,
for them.
yeah.
But also like the team as well, right? Because I look at this event, okay, where were we 10 years ago? What makes this a different event? And I think what you begin to realize when looking at something that has such long tenure is you don't build $1 million gala overnight very often. Does it happen? Sure. You have a room of 100 CEOs from big Fortune 500 companies, you're gonna have a great night, right?
There's no build there, though.
There's no build there. So I mean, like, what I want to urge you to do is if you're having your first fundraiser or your 5th fundraiser, know that you are putting pieces in place that will build upon themselves, and eventually if you keep staying the course and moving everything in the right direction, it can really pay off in a big way.
Agreed.
It can really pay off in a big way. And I think, one thing to kind of look at is having the right team in place. I kind of mentioned it. We started partnering with this client about 10 years ago. We took a couple years off because we had some issues come up. And we've been with them 8 years over the last 10. And essentially what we've seen is that growth. But we're not the only team that plays into that, right? So much of that is getting comfortable with the venue or with the check-in, check-out coordinating team.
Or with the people that procure stuff. Yeah.
right?
All of it.
And I think that's kind of what I want to get at today is like you have to constantly look at the different aspects of your event and evolve them, right? Evolve them. So when we get on this weekly podcast, we talk about what went good, what went well, what went not so well. Where can we improve? Where can we move on? And I think so much of you as a leader in a nonprofit fundraising event is putting in the right pieces. Like in terms of your guys' events, did you see anything in regards to a teammate or a crew member that could have done better? And do you think that individual is going to strive for greatness, or is there a lot of fly-by-night that you're seeing in some of these events?
Well, my event there was staff working everything, and I think, to be honest with you, with that group, especially by the time they got to night of, they were ready to celebrate too. And so there's also a fine line with that. A lot of your groups that are doing they've been working at it so hard, and they almost feel like, they can't quite cross the finish line. They want to stop and enjoy it before it's completely done, if that makes sense. And so, but you got to be so careful not to poo-poo that because of all the work that went into it. And regardless, to be honest with you, any little thing that didn't get done, we picked up the slack on. And that's what we're hired to do, is birth that event.
Right. I think there's only...
They're having a baby. We're gonna birth your event.
Did
it's
you
happening.
have a kelp birth this weekend?
We had a kelp birth this weekend.
Little baby kelp plant.
Yeah, Taz and I were out in the audience picking up dessert dash for
Yes,
them.
us. Same
With our
thing.
microphone. Hey, guys, hold it up. We'll come get it.
Anything to make it easier for those people, because if you just, the teams that need to be, I don't want to say carrying their weight because you don't know, right, exactly. But it's difficult to criticize that in your report. You can say, hey, maybe next year have 2 people designated for this or have 3 people designated for this, and then let them meet with our group when they get there.
Yeah.
But,
I used it to my advantage. I used it to connect.
Yeah.
Because it was the very first time I got on the microphone in front of them after everybody sat down.
Wow.
Hey guys, we're going to get started here in a second, but we got to pick up these dash sheets first.
Yep.
I'm Paul, this is Taz. Laura, we're here to help you. And that was, boom, we're out in the audience, John and I, and I used that as a way to connect.
That's a great idea.
Hey, aren't you guys done with your sheet yet? All over the mic. Oh, this table's going to be trouble. I'll be back here in 10 seconds.
Right.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
That's cool.
It just kind of opened up that dialogue with the people and make them feel like we are part of the team.
Yeah.
Which we are.
Which we are.
Yeah. You set up the environment, right? Like you created that environment that became infectious, or they made it feel like they were part of a community. And I think that's part of what you're doing over a long tenure with a fundraising event. Each year, you're putting in place opportunities to engage and make people feel like they're part of something bigger. And over the years, you continue to build and improve on each one of those aspects. You're creating the environment. If you have audio that doesn't work, you got to figure out a way to have the audio that's going to work and everyone's going to feel good about it. If people don't know they need to pick up dessert dash forms, over time, you train them and kind of get them to a place where they're like, okay, what kind of fundraising support are we doing? And they actually move that ball forward. And I think that is why I was so impressed with my weekend this weekend, is because what has happened is the teams that are in place are carrying the event, but what's also happened through that process is the supporters have been trained over the years to know what's expected of them. Yeah. And it was so well executed, and it's not something you always see. Like at times, and I don't mean to pick on Catholic schools, but schools in general, they're very guilty of like pulling in the parents and saying, hey, parents, you're going to come here and we hope you give. But essentially what I saw in the event that I helped with this weekend is like everybody came and they knew that they were going to give money at a certain price point or buy an item that was going to be at a certain price point, and you saw all of these people come together and carry that event. So training those supporters becomes essential to longevity.
Yeah.
Right?
I think
That's
it's great.
a really, really good point, right? And as the new parents cycle through the school, the younger parents show up and see what the older kid parents do, and they realize that is what they're expected to do. As the 8th grade parents or whatever the case, they cycle out, and the younger parents come up, and now they got 3rd, 4th, 5th graders, and they're going through 5, 6 different auctions, the same event, 5 or 6 different times. After the 2nd or 3rd time, they're going to know this is what they expect of us. That's why they're asking us to be here.
And I think that once you realize those support, exactly, and I think once you realize like where those key supporters are, Paul, you can also build your event around those supporters. Like say, for example, you know somebody that is really into Harleys. Like we sold a Harley this weekend. Like that item didn't come out of nowhere. There were like 3 or 4 people who we knew were going to potentially buy that item, and there was also a supporter who was tied in with a dealership that had the connections with that. So what you come to find out is, okay, how are these supporters going to work with us, and how can we expand on that and strengthen the relationship? Hey, I know that you love riding a motorcycle. How can I use that to help fund and raise monies for the good cause? And that is just something that you really need to focus on, because the supporters will make and break, but also carry for a long time.
No, I think that's great. I'm so glad you had a great show, both of you. Was yours fun?
Yeah, it's a fun group. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
they're
had a
fun.
first.
Uh-oh.
You want to hear about it? We don't like sitting at the table, but we've been put at tables this year. It's been odd. They put us at a table.
Yeah, I've seen that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's something new for us, and so it's always uncomfortable for us. I mean, we love to get to know the people, but you
got other things on your mind.
you do,
You're not
and
enjoying your dinner as
you're
well
getting
as you
your
could.
stuff
Yeah.
done, and
I
you really
know.
can't eat because number one, you don't want to burp on the microphone. That would be, one and out.
No, you don't want to burp in front of Kelly
That would
at all.
be bad.
She'll call you
I
out.
will call
She'll
you
be like,
out if
"Look
you
at this."
burp. That's right.
That
You
onion
say
breath
it's your
is
enzyme.
really kicking.
Yes. Oh, I put more onion in that stew than normal. Anyway, my point is, we were guests, or not guests, but we were sitting at a table with guests.
Yeah.
And there was a dessert dash form, and they want to know what we were going to do on the dessert dash. Well, okay, I'm not dashing. But that's okay. So we had to explain to them who we were, what we were there to do, yada yada. And so we, obviously participate. We donate at every auction that we go to, everyone. Either at the end we send them a little check, or we do night of. And so I put down my $50, on the dessert dash there, and it was probably lame, but $50 is worth a piece of cake, right? It's $50. So our whole
worth
table,
one piece at
yeah,
least.
at least one piece. So our whole table raised $300. So, but you multiply that by the tables, and it was fine. I think we were probably middle of the road. But here's the kicker: we had one gal sitting next to me that was adamant that she did not like chocolate.
Oh no!
And we had another gal over here that loves chocolate.
Oh no!
And watching this happen, and I'm just sitting there going, "This is not going to end well."
It's not going to end well. Don't pick chocolate.
So,
Yes, I want chocolate.
The one that loves chocolate was the table runner. Guess what?
Oh no way!
And so she was very sweet, and she's like, yeah, no, I'll pass. Yeah, so it's just hilarious, But what do you do in that situation? That was kind of a conundrum, to be honest with you, because I'm like,
No,
I don't know
what
what
you
to
do then is you take your piece. Yes, I'll take my piece of cake, and then you go and you find somebody else.
toilet and dump it in the
No,
toilet.
no. You're like, here's my cake. Who wants to trade me a piece of this for a cake? And then you get some cookies, or you get a donut, or you get a cheesecake.
A cheesecake. There was even a cheesecake there, and I made the mistake of saying, well, I saw a cheesecake over there. Maybe that would be good for everybody. She says, I don't like cheesecake. I said, okay, well, here's my $50. I'm going to go over here.
What do you like?
What do you like?
Take this and light this on fire. Thank you.
But it was hilarious. Anyway, I haven't had that happen before, ever, where I was like,
I love how it became like a lobby
It
thing
did.
for you. Like, okay, who here loves chocolate? Okay, Jane, get out of here. We're not eating with us anymore. We're not friends. You go sit on the floor. Okay.
here, chew on this napkin for a while.
Shouldn't you be volunteering somewhere? Like, isn't that where you should be? Yeah. That's
Oh,
hilarious.
Lord have mercy. Anyway, I had to
man.
share that. It was an unusual thing.
Also, if you get there and your friend's like, well, I don't like chocolate. Well, maybe you need better friends. Yes! Just saying.
Yes.
Chocolate, I'm pretty sure it's somewhere on the dietary table.
I think it's
right?
in the Bible.
It's in the
I think
That's the
we'll have to
11th
ask the-
commandment.
we'll ask
One
the
must
Ivan.
eat chocolate.
We'll ask the Ivan.
Oh, yeah. he'll
Are
know.
there watchers that make chocolate?
And he'll be like, well, in the Ethiopian version,
In the Ethiopian Bible, there's a lot of chocolate makers back in the day, and some people call them Bigfoot.
we love our Ivan.
The Ivan Files, check it out.
Yeah.
You won't miss. You know what? Check out the Ivan Files. Just do it. He's a 90-year-old man, or going to be 90 here soon. And he's hilarious.
He's a gem.
He is.
He is a
Yep.
gem. We think he may be a Bigfoot, though. Let's be real.
Pretty
He
sure.
was telling me about that when I was in the house. Yeah, he mentioned it.
Is that right?
What'd you talk about today? Then,
Bigfoot.
yeah.
Watchers.
Yes, I got a story for you guys later. But hey, we're going to wrap this thing up. If you can see behind us, we are in the forest. It does look like Bigfoot is behind us.
Where's the Ewoks?
The Ewoks. No Ewoks, but definitely I think I saw a shadow of a Bigfoot behind that tree back there. That's how they sound.
Yeah, right?
And then their teeth. That's how it looks.
From our Ewoks to yours, thanks for joining us. Hey, if we got a video version, go check that out if you're listening to this on the podcast. Alternatively, we will be back with you next week talking about fundraising strategies because we love fundraising.
Yeah, hey, if you need some help, hire us. We are ready to work. So,
We're also ready to just push you in the right direction so you can raise a whole bunch of money.
and we're actually ready for you to hire us.
That's not right.
Yeah,
We'd love to work with you.
we'd love to work with you.
All right, you guys. Be good to yourself and the people around you.
Be courageous, man.
And go do good. Appreciate y'all.
We out.
Bye.
We out!